You good? All right. We'll call to order the Cuyahoga County Council Work Session for Tuesday, May the 14th. Clerk, please call the roll.
Calling the roll, Mr. Germana.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Schron.
Here.
Ms. Conwell. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Rogers. Here. Ms. Simon. Ms. Conley. Ms. Conley is absent today. Mr. Greenspan.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
And Mr. Brady.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Today in our work session, we have a presentation again by the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, Positive Cleveland. David Gilbert. David?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. I appreciate the time. I just want to come in today to give you an update on where things stand with the senior games. We actually kicks off 65 days from today. And oops, thank you. Kicks off 65 days from today, and obviously the county is certainly a big part of it financially and otherwise. And so, just want to give an update on where we stand. I just want to what's timing, because it's a long PowerPoint. There's some things I'm just going to go through real quick, but just want to keep a good handle on time.
Well, David, we have a regular meeting at 5. I'd like to see at least a 10-minute break.
Oh, we'll be in good shape.
Okay.
It's not that long, but thank you. I didn't want I didn't want to go through it in 5 minutes if I had a little more. Just a little bit. I guess what I'll just begin with is just letting you know that things are actually going very, very well, and our goal, really in its broadest sense, was to host, we think, what would be the best national senior games that's ever been hosted, and we think by a lot of measures now we are well on our way. And I'll talk about a lot of the really big, important foundational things in terms of funding, in terms of the recruitment of athletes, we've surpassed our goals, and we're now really in the last part of the major execution phase, and that's coming together really well. But just thought you all would, just as you might get questions about and other things, so you have an idea of where it stands. So a little bit of what I'm gonna run through. I think one thing that's important to note is there really is a major infrastructure behind this. And what's happening in other cities where it's been hosted, and it's hosted every other year. 2 years ago it was in Houston, 2 years before that it was San Francisco, 2 years before that in Louisville. There has not been the infrastructure behind it that there is here. And the base of it, fortunately, is with the Sports Commission, where we have an existing organization that really was able to take it on when we were awarded it 4.5 years ago and really hit the ground running. And so there already is a major, all of these are, we right now have, in addition to some of our Sports Commission staff working on it regularly, we have 12 full-time staff people that have been on for at least a year, and a number of different contractors that are on working on the games. This is, without going into detail, this is our staffing plan for the games. We have starting next week 26 interns that'll be on for about 12 weeks, college interns that are filling in the rest of the time. But I think there's a well thought out plan and far enough ahead of time. Our sponsors, and by the way, if anybody wants, as I'm going through some of this more quickly, I can answer questions and also get a copy of the presentation for anybody if anyone wants to see more detail. But we've done very, very well in our sponsorship. The community has really responded, and at the end of the day, we are there in terms of our fundraising. Our goal, what we needed budget-wise, total was about $4.3 million. We're actually at about $4.5 million, and so it actually gives us a little bit of cushion for some. It's a 5% contingency, which is about what's there. So when there are small things, and I'll give you one example of something coming up with recruitment, that it gave us the flexibility to do some things to really step up. One thing that is still in the only thing on this whole grid that's not 100% is our grant from the state of Ohio. we had thought it was set and done and passed by the legislature in December, but we found out just a couple weeks ago, kind of a long story of how it got passed, but now we have to wait till June to find out for certain if we have it. So there is a chance we may be a little bit in the hole. I think we're confident that that state grant is going to happen. It was basically legislation that passed allowing for a percentage of incremental sales tax for certain events to go back toward the hosting of those events. But what the state didn't do was put in an actual budget line item for it that our lobbyists didn't think needed to be there. But we've identified where those fundings will come from through the Ohio Department of Tourism, and it looks like everything is on board to make that happen. But the bottom line is that from folks like the county and the city, the corporate community foundations, through the National Senior Games Association, two major national sponsors, Humana and AstraZeneca, bringing in about $1.25 million from outside sponsorship. So bottom line is what we planned and wanted to do and do it the right way, we're there. This number is actually a little bit low. So here's ultimately, we wanted to make sure we at least hit 10,000 athletes. As of today, registration closed on May 1, and this didn't include paper registrations still coming into the national office. We're now at about 10,720 registered athletes. It is officially the second largest ever, and what we know from Louisville, who counted the best ever, a lot of things were estimated, and we're pretty certain that this is, even though technically the second largest, we think it's actually the largest senior games ever held. If you look at numbers, the London Olympic Games had 10,800 athletes. We have 10,700 athletes coming to Cleveland. It is, and each one, the research shows will bring 1.5 to 2 friends and family. So we're going to have somewhere between 26, 28, 29,000 people coming to town over a 13-day period of time. We, quite frankly, the National Senior Games Association that owns the event does very little other than send an email saying you're eligible, please sign up. We did far more than any other city's ever done to proactively go out. I mean, one of the things we did a staff over 2 days. We made over 1,500 phone calls to athletes who had they had qualified but not yet signed up. We personally made 1,500 calls to all those athletes in Ohio and all the surrounding states that resulted in almost 300 more. We sent something out, not to get into too much detail, but this is what really helped us in terms of having a little bit of extra money. Each of the states, each of the 50 states has a state games, and if you qualify at those state games, you're eligible to be in the national games. A lot of people participate in the state games not necessarily wanting to go. That's just as far as they go. They don't always go. But the states get nothing out of it. There's a loose relationship between the states and national senior games. There's certainly no incentive for them to get people to participate. So about 3 weeks out, we sent a letter to every single one of the states and said, for every athlete who signs up in the final 2 weeks, we're going to write you a check for $20. No, and you have to understand, a lot of these state games operate on a $10,000 budget. So if New York State helped us get 100 more athletes, and we write them a $2,000 check, that was a big deal. And we saw the biggest, by far the biggest number of athletes ever register in the final 2 weeks that they've ever had. And so it's about $25,000 out of our budget, but that means now another 2,500 people coming here and spending the money. And to us, it was very important to get to that number close to the Olympics. That was something we just felt very, very, very passionate about. And thankfully, it worked. So now for us, we're really at the point of the execution, which is two things: making sure that the people who come in, all these athletes, their friends and family, have a great experience on the field and off the field. And two, how do we make sure that we engage the community as much as we possibly can? We want to make sure that when people leave, that they feel great about Cleveland. That's more than just making sure that they saw the sights and that they had good competition. It's about feeling welcome by the people here. And so everything we do is free and open to the public. And so there's a lot that we are already starting to do and going to be doing to make sure that hopefully we get thousands of people to the games. So again, a lot of media relations. We're actually the first games ever to have a mascot that we created, and I mean, and we're going to be doing a lot of street teams, and the mascot you'll see on I guess it's on the right. If you ever wanted at one of your events, it's there because it's going to be seen everywhere. We're working with an ad agency who's helping us do a lot of paid media, and again, and people are giving us just great deals because they want to be a part of this. We're not spending a ton on paid media, but people are giving us 8 or 10 to 1. We're spending $20,000. We're gonna have $200,000 in paid media, and a lot of that will be geared more to the last 4 or 5 weeks, because it's really about a call to action to volunteer, a call to action to come to some of the main events. TV3, Cleveland.com, Plain Dealer, they're all on as big sponsors, and they're doing a lot of stuff for us for very little or in many cases no money at all. A lot of radio. We've got great radio partners, and again a lot of print throughout the county. Very important for us, community engagement. And again, we are going to be, and we already are out there at a lot of community events, letting people know what the games are. And again, one of the things about, as big as it doesn't have a brand name. It's not like when we're hosting the NCAA basketball regionals. People know what that is. Very easy to get a sense. This, we still have to go out and do some education on what the senior games is as an event, and really how inspiring it is as an event. But we are on the ground, and we've got a staff that's working on nothing but this. One thing important that we created an ambassador program. What we're doing is we're reaching out to organizations, companies, nonprofits, schools, and asking people, those organizations, to adopt a piece of the event. So what that means is it's not a cost, but it means take something on and have your people there. It could be 5 people, it could be 50 people. You might say, we're going to have our people on Tuesday afternoon at tennis. We're going to have people at the airport. We're going to have people, all kinds of different events. And all we want them to do is shake people's hands when they see them in from out of town, tell them that we welcome them to Cleveland. They might wear their company T-shirts, they might give things away. Doesn't matter to us, whatever they want to do, but it's about making sure that each piece of this event has some part of our community and people in our community that are there specifically to be welcoming to the athletes and friends and family. One thing I mentioned to you, and we actually raised a whole separate, it was in the main budget, but we raised foundation money for this. We did a whole year-long series of programs focused on active aging that we called the Year of Vitality. And this shows you we've had a huge number of different partners, including the county. In the end, we're going to have, the total number is 10 different programs, things like a speaker club series at the City Club. We just had Dr. Roy's in there last week. Lots of different programs through the county library system. And in the end, we're going to have over 200 specific programs in 10 different areas that by the time the games will have happened, over 10,000 people will have been a part of one of those programs. So totally unrelated to the games, but all about using this event as a way to focus on active aging. Again, the Cleveland Senior Walk, we're taking that from 300 or 400 people. Last year we took it to 1,000. This year we're going to have over 1,500. Again, it's all free. It's all open to the public. But now all of those people, all those 10,000 people, they are going to be connected to the games. They're going to be receiving the information. They're going to be asked to come down and be a part of this. A little bit about the village. There are 3 really main areas that we're asking people to be a part of. One is we've got a main village, and again, as you know, this will be the first big event in the convention center, other than a couple of banquets, but we'll use every square inch of that convention center. And we really see it as, while there will be an opening and a gala, this is where the public for the first time can come in, can see it in action. And we have a huge village, and I'll tell you a little bit about it, but it's where we've got all kinds of sponsors, but every day we have programming, whether it's farmers markets, it's health screenings, and we want people to come down and be a part of it. Every athlete, every one of those 10,700 athletes has to go into that convention center to register. So at a minimum of once, they're going to be in there. We think with the program, they'll be in there multiple times, and many of the sports are in there. So that convention center is going to absolutely be the main hub of activity. This is just a little bit about the convention center, which you know. This just shows right now all the different people that are going to be in the village. I could tell you, we were in Houston, they had seven different vendors in their village. We're at over 30. I mean, we really are working to blow this out and make sure that there's a reason for people to come down. We're working with senior centers all throughout the region that are going to be sending down busloads of their folks to come down and spend time, see some sports, see the village. Lots of tchotchkes to be given away, so people walk around with their bags to get all kinds of little free stuff. So we want to make sure that that was very much a part of it. And again, every day there's going to be music. There's going to be talks, and every night, this is something no other game's ever done. Well, what's happened in the past, when you win a medal, if you're one of the will be a couple thousand different medalists. If you're at softball and you win a medal, and your team wins that day, you get your medal at softball. But there's no place to congregate, no place to celebrate it. So every single athlete that wins a medal, when they get their medal at their competition site, they're going to be given an invitation that night to a parade of medalists. And they're going to get to come down, and they're going to have free food, free drink, and we're going to have the public there, and there's going to be a parade of all the medalists. So they come down wearing their medals, they're downtown, they spend their money, but it's a way for us to continue to make that village in the center the hub of the action. We're doing a great passport with discounts and other things to a lot of restaurants, attractions. Again, we need to make sure that we absolutely encourage people to stay longer and to spend their money. Again, talking about, we have and you guys will be invited to a lot of this stuff. There's some different VIP receptions for sponsors. Celebration of athletes. Is what you would think of traditionally as an opening ceremony. We actually do it in the middle because the athletes are here and they compete an average of 4.5 to 5 days, but over a 13-day span. So it's sort of a bell curve, and in the middle is when the most athletes are here. So out of 10,000 athletes, in the middle you'll have about 6,000 or 7,000 there. So we're doing a major event, free, at Quicken Loans Arena. Scott Hamilton is coming in to MC it. Lots of great music. This is actually what the stage will look like. We have a really cool creative company that's doing it for us. And again, we want people to come down and celebrate this community and welcome the people who are here from all 50 states. So that's going to be a very big event. The other big event is the flame arrival ceremony, and that's going to be on the Friday night that the games start. It's going to be what we think it's sort of the ribbon cutting of the event. And it's going to be a huge event on the malls. We have fireworks. We have big bands, the Danger Brothers. Anybody who goes out to the islands, they're playing. Rusted Root, which is a big band, they're coming. It's all free. We've got 8 or 9 food trucks that'll be there starting at 4 o'clock. And we hope that our hope is that we have, somewhere 5,000 to 10,000 people on those malls. And it's a way to celebrate Cleveland. We're actually doing a fun celebrity shuffleboard event at probably 4 or 5 that day with teams and media, because we'll have shuffleboards set up as one of the sports in the ballroom. So the entire ballroom will be set up with shuffleboard courts. So we're just doing a lot of things to get media there, but here's a whole, and again, you guys are going to get invitations. But the 2 big events to mark on your calendar are July 19th and July 26th. 19th is a flame arrival, and the 26th is the celebration of athletes. Something really cool. So the flame, usually there's some. We had a local architect design for us this unbelievable flame, and what's amazing, it sort of represents flames coming out of the river, sort of a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek of the river catching on fire, and sort of a rebirth. But this, if we were to pay for it, this is how we've worked the games. If we were to pay for it, this would cost about $140,000. We're spending $30,000 on it. We had Olympic Steel donate the steel. We had Gilbane Construction do all the fabrication for. I mean, it's been amazing how people in this community have stepped up, and the city has agreed they're going to keep this. They're probably somewhere down the lakefront. They want to keep this permanently as a remembrance of the games and a piece of public art. So this is going to remain somewhere downtown as a permanent reminder of the games. Again, big opening reception. Something we talked about that was actually suggested by the county was doing an event at Edgewater Park to really show off that amenity, and especially now with the Metro Parks taking it over. So we're doing a big bonfire, beach blanket bingo themed event. We're making sure that we're going to have somewhere between 300 and 400 athletes. They all come down, they eat for free, they drink for free. Great Lakes is providing all the beer for free, and then we're going to have all these food trucks, and we're going to hopefully get a couple thousand people from the community down there. We're offering excursions, so any of these athletes, it's not just about we want them to stay extra. So we have all these excursions through a third-party provider that people are already booking a lot of them, that we know when they come here, they can book before or after their stay, and it's all inclusive. They get their food, they get their tickets, they get their transportation. Again, I'm not going to go through in great detail, just flip through some slides, but this is, again, all the sports venues. The vast majority of all the sports are downtown Cleveland State and Case, but then there's some BWs hosting track and field, and then a few other remote ones, bowling, golf, and the softball is all in Parma. This just shows a grid, and again, I'd be happy. It's all on here, but I can get this to you. This is just an estimation of the number of athletes who are here for each sport on what each day. This is more of a planning tool for us, so we have an idea of, for instance, when people get medals, how many folks come down. Had a phenomenal, we have a steering committee that we brought together, every venue, all the safety forces, and they've all met once a month since last October to make sure that everybody in this community who will touch this event is invited to be part of this. And we usually have 30 or 40 people at every single meeting. You just see everything from departments of agings to, all the different safety forces, all the different venues, all the medical clinic and UH are sharing the medical, all pro bono. Huge number of people, and they've said they love the fact that far out in advance they were aware of every single thing going on. And again, very important because they all need to know very detailed what events are happening where. Again, you don't need to see all the details of where each event is. It's just a setup of the convention center with the village, with basketball and volleyball courts, with shuffleboard, lots of shuffleboard courts, basketball at Public Hall, and just, I think, very important, just based on what happened in Boston. Security has been very important. It's been something, I think we learned a lot of lessons even back with the International Children's Games that we hosted. We have had everything, again, Cleveland Police, all of the security forces at all the different venues, County Sheriff's Department, they've all been part of this. In fact, there's an exercise taking place in 2 weeks that Department of Homeland Security is running, and RTA is coordinating with all the security forces doing scenarios. What is scenarios? If God forbid this, that, or the other happened, how would we respond? So not that there's any reason to think the federal officials are they know this event is happening. There's no reason for us to believe in any way, shape, or form that there's any imminent threats. But again, you have to plan and take it seriously. Done some great crisis communications plan. We have a big local PR agency that's helped us develop that. Just shows you what the medals will look like. All the different hotels that are being used. A lot of hotel room nights are being booked, and whether they book through us or not, quite frankly, all it means is we get a little bit of a less rebate. In the end, every single one of those people, there's probably only out of those 10,700, maybe there's 200 that are local that won't stay in hotels. So we're going to have 10,500 people staying in hotels plus their friends and family for an average of 5+ nights. We also are doing housing in the dorms. There's a lot of people where this is the price means something, so we've offered dorm housing at BW, at Case, and at Cleveland State. Also, no community has ever offered transportation. So when somebody's come in, it's completely on their own. We have been allowed to add. The National Senior Game Association keeps 100% of the registration fees, but we've been allowed to add. We added $5 to everybody's registration, and RTA got a grant from ODOT to supplement the rest. And every single athlete is getting a free 4-day pass on our 4-day pass on RTA, and it goes to almost every single venue. The RTA they're not allowed to add new service, but for instance, the Healthline, they're going to run it extra. They're coordinating their existing schedules with the schedule of the games. They did get a federal waiver that they're actually running direct bus service during the days of track and field from downtown out to BW. And we let all the track and field athletes know. So if they stay downtown, there's a direct RTA. So in essence, for free in their registration, they will get, and you're going to see each of the passes have athletes on it, and so it'll be. But it's something where people are going to walk away from this community saying that this was the best games they've ever had. Nobody has ever offered anything like this. And we have a very detailed communication now and when they get here for all those athletes. Volunteers, we're going to use over 7,000 volunteer shifts, somewhere between 3,000 and 3,500 volunteers. We're about halfway there right now. So but I mean, a lot of the media is just kicking off. But that's where, again, any ways that the county would have to help us get the word out, say either volunteer or come down to all the free events, we'd welcome that. Everybody gets a free hat, a free T-shirt, a free backpack, but they have to work 2 shifts. And they can pick the day they want, the venue they want. It's not, I mean, if they say, I'm available for these 4 hours on this day, they can sign up for those 4 hours on that day. It's not so anyway, again, volunteering, very important. And lastly, I said 65 is actually 66 days until the opening. So
David?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Take a breath.
Sorry if that was too long.
Pretty amazing. A lot of high energy there. It sounds very exciting.
Thanks.
Any questions by the committee? And we want to acknowledge the presence of Councilwoman Conwell. Members of the committee? Councilman Greenspan.
Great, thanks. Having been involved in 2 Olympics, I could tell you one of the most exciting things that Lillehammer did that you've adopted is the consolidated medal ceremonies. Oftentimes, these athletes compete in venues where there are a small amount of spectators, and to bring them down, it does a couple things. It makes them feel more like they're part of a larger event, but also it drives them to the center of where you want them to be, which I think is great. Question I have, though, Olympics all name their mascots. Does our mascot have a name?
I believe it's Sparky. I should know the exact name. I think that because it's the flame, I'm almost certain that's what it is. But I will let you know. I'll send you an email, let you know that for certain.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you indicated, I think David, that there were some kind of welcoming events. You were encouraging people to be there to welcome them. How do you know what's available and things of that nature? Is there
we are. Thank you for the question, Council. We have printed materials that are coming out in the next couple days. We actually changed them because we wanted very specific calls to action. But we're going to have materials, whether it's online or printed materials, that anybody who wants it can forward it. So we're saying it to our board, all kinds of folks, and it's going to be very simple. The things that we most need. If you want to volunteer, click here. Here's the other events that we'd love for you to go to, and we're really narrowing it down to 3. There's the Daily Village you can go to any day. There is the celebration of athletes, and there's the torch arrival ceremony. So those are really the big things. We didn't want to make it too. We were going to list every sport and what times. We'll have that on the website, but we decided we really want to drive people to a handful of events, so it sort of makes it easy. I can mark this one thing on my calendar, and that's where I can go.
But I thought I understood you saying that you were looking for groups to be shaking hands and saying,
yes,
thanks for coming to Cleveland, thanks for coming to County. Is that something that maybe we would put together a county council one, that we welcome somebody at an event, everybody there with our staff would thank them.
Thank you. I appreciate. Yeah,
We'd have our leather jackets on from the county council and things. Stuff like
Perfect.
That. Oh, I guess only one of us.
That's our ambassador program, and I'll have information sent to you because it's a separate program where literally people have a whole menu and they could say, okay, we would like to support this. And there's basically, you sign up for it, it's yours, and we just kind of keep track so we know that this is covered, and then it's up to each group to, again, it could be, I think we asked for a minimum of 5 people. Some groups are having, I mean, there are some companies that are saying we're going to bring 50 or 100 people, so we're finding the right venue for them. But we'll get information. That's our ambassador program, so we'll get information to you on that. That would be great.
Kind of fun for us, I think, to come out as a group and welcome them and stuff like that. At least welcome to the county.
That'd be great. And I will tell you, you're going to get an invitation for certain VIP events and certain VIP seating at some of the events. And you'll also have some kind of badges recognizing you as members of county council. So you'll have some of that stuff as well.
But I was thinking more of the participation side as opposed to the VIP side.
Great. That would be. I'll make sure we get you information. That's great.
Jack, we'll come cheer you on. What are you participating in? Jack, what are you participating in so we can come cheer you on?
Up and touched her. What's that?
What are you participating in so we can come cheer you on?
Yeah, cheer me on. Yeah, I'm doing the senior games as far as the shuffleboard of it.
Right. Other questions by the committee? All right. Well, listen, David, thank you so much. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be
Thanks
really,
for the support. And just as we go along, anything you need from us, I know we've already worked out reimbursing county residents who've registered. We're going to have that list in the next, by the end of May. So we're going to reimburse every county resident. I believe that was a recommendation of Councilman Miller. So it'll come from you all, thanking them for registering, and we're going to send them a check for the money that they paid to register. So other things that you need from us like that, just let us know.
Okay, great.
Great. Thank you
Thanks
very
a lot.
much.
All right. Is there any miscellaneous business at this time that anyone would like to raise in the work session? Hearing none, is there any public comment?
No, there is no public comment.
All right. Well, if there are no objections, the work session is adjourned until 5 o'clock.